Hi there and welcome to this tutorial where we'll construct a wooden barn and we're going to import this in the Unreal Engine 5 game engine. All the textures are for free, available on Polyhaven. Got some exclusive textures as well, like the window, the construction beams, and an improved ceramic roof that's also from Polyhaven, but I rescanned it with some more details and higher resolution. And all the extra files are available on my Patreon. You can just subscribe for free, no paid subscription, and you get the files, you get the main model, and that's pretty cool. So I just want to show you the Polyhaven platform. This is where it all happens. Here is the place where we put all our textures, our models, and it's a very rich platform of high quality content. So if you have wood textures, I picked some wood, planks and floors that fits the scene well. But if you want to have any other texture that you think fits better, like this weather plank is really cool, you can just replace it. It's just like a palette of colors I prefer, but it's not the best, of course not. So yeah, I made a collection. I put this in a folder. So from this point we can start. So this is the cabin that I created. I want to make this from scratch. I'm not using any reference files. I'm just modeling, shaping it, and in the end we will have a wooden barn. So let's get started. We can just go to File, New, General, and don't save it. This is the new Blender file. We have a cube. Instead of removing it, my idea is just call this barn base so we can reuse it. That's pretty cool. I like to toggle Windows full screen so we have some more size. And if possible, I just want to registrate the buttons I'm pressing. And if that's working, it's nice. If it's not working, yeah, there it is. Sometimes it's gone, sometimes it's there. I don't know what it is. So I want to transform this cube in the wooden barn. I call it barn base. So yeah, the only thing we need to do is shaping it. So I mentioned that I have some freestyle in modeling. That's to speed it up and make it myself more comfortable. So I have this cube, and what I want, if I look at the scale, I want to have a Z value of 4. Let's take this 4. So that will be the roof. So in the end, it will be like that. And a dimension of 4, like something like this, the width. So length as Y, making it a little bit bigger. So it has this rectangle looking shape. I want to size this a little, something like this. It's starting to look like what I want. I'm putting an edge line, Control R, like this, and I'm selecting these, and it will be the roof shape. So, and I'm just checking. This is something I like. And I think maybe a little bit lower. So that is a nice starting position of the construction. Okay, so we will later remove this base mesh and adding planks. So it's more like a sort of a blueprint reference file, what we have here. So what I like to do now is adding a new cube, mesh cube. And this has a size of 2 meters. So a door is around 2 meters. So I'm using this as a reference. Yeah. So where is my cube? It's right there. I'm trying to select it. It's not possible. Here we go. So this is the door. And I want to go to the edit mode and duplicate this. And I also want some window holes, make it a bit smaller. So close to the door, there is a window. These rectangle really big. So I like to duplicate this and rotate it. And I want to have some windows on the left side as well. Maybe a bit bigger. And Shift D, GY, putting it one over there. That's nice. And we're duplicating it again and putting it right here. So here we go. Cool. And I always like to have a window on the top. And now I feel like the roof is a little bit small, so I make it a bit more to the top. And like this. Maybe a bit smaller. Yeah. How cool. I hope you get comfortable with the way I'm doing this. Maybe it's totally different you're used to. But I call this the medieval modeling style. Not everything is perfectly aligned, and that gives us this rough feeling of the construction. It always helps me to make these medieval structures look so natural. All right, so let me check. I think this all looks how I want this. Maybe there is some little spacing over here. Put this a little bit more downwards. Okay, so what you can do is also rotating these, make it a bit smaller, rotating it a bit. Same for that one. You can do this the other side as well, as long it looks okay. And we go to 3 or Control 3. So a little rotation. It's not bad. And maybe lift this window a bit up, make it a bit smaller. And let's add a small window here as well. Pretty small. Perfect. A little bit of rotation. I don't want to have a window on this side because later we will put a working table over here and then there will be a window there. So that's not okay. So they will intersect with each other. So we now have window holes. Window holes. Perfect. Okay. It needs to be in the right scaling. So Control A, rotation and scale. The base mass as well, rotation and scale. Control A, and you're good to go. Let's go to the modeling tab. That's a bit better. And I want to make holes in this base mesh. So shift left click. Before we do that, just want to show you my my size dimensions. This pretty much what I have. Yours probably a little bit different, and that's no problem. You need to feel comfortable with that. If you watch tutorials where they use like exact numbers, it's like that's the way to go. But it's okay to do this like this. It's fine. It's totally okay. I've done a lot of modeling and I never care about these numbers. Only when I do like modern architecture, it counts really well. Anyway, we continue. The window holes. Shift left click on the base mesh and we go to Boolean. So Boolean is how we cut holes in a mesh. Window holes, and there we go. Apply it and delete it. Cool. So it's starting to look like a house, right? A little bit. I want to select it and remove all these vertices inside. Okay. And now we really have holes. I also want to get rid of the floor and face. And it looks nice for what I'm looking for. So there's this little glitchy in the pod, but we will remove this mesh anyway. The only reason we have this is that we use this as a sort of a blueprint or a reference how to align the planks. So at this point, I want to save the file save as, and I have my blend files, and we call this barn_01. So this is the first part of the tutorial. We jump up to the next one, and that is applying a texture, or we wrap this around it, so we know how to align the planks in the next part. So before we do that, I want to select this roof and press P and selection. So I already splitting this mesh up. Call this roof, base roof, or yeah, let's call this base roof. And I want to duplicate this another time. So we get two roofs, base roof, and call this roof top. This is all part of already the interior part. Select the other one, and I want to go to face orientation. Select these two and extrude it. Press E. Okay, so don't do it this. You want to have a blue shape. So This will be the inner side of the roof, and this will be the outer side of the roof. And this way, it will work in the Unreal Engine as soon as we put this in. Otherwise, we get light glitches. So this is a very important part. All right, what we can do now is just press H, and it's gone. It's hidden, and Alt-H, it's back. And we want to get rid of these blue colors. Ooh, okay, so click, and it's gone. It's magic. We go to material and call this wooden, barn planks. Yeah, always a challenge to find good naming for your materials. And here we are. We're now in the shading tab. That means we can apply texture. So one great thing about this tutorial in Blender is we don't do any fancy material setup. It's just applying the diffuse, the roughness, and the normal, no displacement. So this is the way how we export this to Unreal. And in Unreal, we do some more fancy material blending. And it's worth it watching that part. Okay, before I'm talking too much, I just want to add a texture, an image texture. And we're opening it. And I want to go to the file where I stored my textures. And that's wetted brown planks. So I picked this texture, but again, feel free to use any type of texture you prefer. It really doesn't matter as long it fits your scene or your model. So wetted brown planks diffuse, and here we go. And Shift D, and I want to have the roughness, non-color. That's the right way of displaying it. And then we need the normal, non-color. Here we go. No, add vector, normal map. It's always that little small step that converts your normal map to a good normal map in your principled BSDF. All right, so far so good. So what's up next? I'm now in this shading tab, and we got this screen on the left. We got all kind of tabs, but this is applied. We don't need to make any further changes at this point. So we go back to the modeling tab, and it's way bigger. So this is cool. Looks like SketchUp. So simple, but I can promise you this will be a very nice cabin. You've seen the preview, so it's probably good. Material. So Control L, select everything. You can also go to the vertice selection mode or the face selection mode. I prefer the vertice selection mode. Control L, and you unwrap cube projection. Look at that. We all have so separated planks. Now you go to the UV editing. It's showing the normal, but I'll prefer this one. We select all of these, and now it's really important how big you want to have your planks. So I don't want to have too many. It's glitching all the way. What about some? I mean, the more planks, the more modeling. That's like what it is. But the other hand, it looks pretty cool if you have like, you don't want to have too many. I mean, this is crazy, but something like this. How many do we have at this point? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so one thing I want to just fix is that this plank and the plank at the bottom are at the same, so it's almost good now. Yeah, so that's great. So it's easy to make this transition. Okay, so I have quite a lot of planks, and that's fine. So this is at the front. Yeah, just thinking about maybe reducing one plank. I mean, we've got a lot. So okay. So we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is like a nice amount. Okay, cool. So we have these windows. Looks all good to me. So this is like a reference where you need to put the window, where you putting the window. Exactly what it is. And let's get started with adding the construction beams at this point. So we'll go back to the modeling. This is good. And I like to append my construction beams. So these are scanned models from Wooden Beams. So File, Append, and I go to my models, Wooden Beams, and Collection. It's called Collection. Okay, I call this Wooden Beams. And it's stored at the bottom. So that's putting it right there. And I want to use one of these beams to use as a construction. And this one is the one I really like. It's Beam Bake 008. So the naming isn't perfect. I will provide you with the right naming. We can make this a little bit bigger. Control A, rotation and scale. Yeah, so this one. And I'm dragging this to this point. I'm rotating it. I can already make it smaller. Well, that's fine. So these construction beams are very important for the aligning of the planks. So I want to do something like this. Let's take a look. Good. And we're duplicating it, rotating it, and putting it right there. Same for the other part, Shift V, and here we go. And we're rotating it. Nice. Shift V, and just flip this 180 degrees. Okay, so these are the construction beams. We will add more. So select this one, because I also want to have one in the middle. Rotate this a bit, 90 degrees. And Shift D, rotate it again. And on the other side. So here we go. Nice. So I could displace these planks, but it doesn't give me the result I want. So instead of just displacing it, I'm going to make planks manually. So that's quite of a job. So what I like to do is create, let's call this barn. Yeah. And I want to create a new collection and call this planks. Yeah, or barn planks. Something, add mesh cube. All right, here we go. And we'll make it smaller. So this will be one of the planks. And we're aligning this to one of them. Okay. This is too thick. Something like this. And as you can see, I'm very straight with finding the measurements, because it doesn't make any sense of keep tuning it. So I think this is a nice size, maybe a little bit thicker. I'm not doing any beveling. This is looking good to me. So I'm going to Control A, rotation and scale. I pick the same texture, barn planks, and you unwrap cube projection. You go to UV, editing, and we're finding a nice texture. So what I like is you can see these joints between the planks, that we just take a little bit of that. Okay. So we start at the bottom like that. But we need to make a small tweak, and that's just rotate this a little. GY. And we now merging this in the structure. Okay, so that's the first plank, and I'm all making single planks. We also need one on the right, so Shift D, and because this is smaller, we just make this smaller, and we make it smaller at this point, and we can pick a different place. So if your question is, are we going to do this for every single plank? My answer is, yeah, that's what we're going to do, because that's the way how we make awesome structures. But don't panic. it will be cool. It will be nice. There's no reason for panic. I mean, this is the reason I like modeling so much, because we're making nice looking structures. Shift D, we're moving this up here. And you want to have a little bit of overlapping. Yeah, so we go to the edit mode. And I mean, you can just drag them to the lower part. Maybe make it small a little bit. And look at that. You got 2 new planks. So we will continue doing this like this. We're now reaching a point where we're facing a window. Yeah, that's all fine. Let's take a look. Okay, so we're just moving this. You can see there's this weird color difference, and I like to avoid that. So, okay. This looks okay, and I think what I need to do with these planks is making them a little bit more inside. And same for these, selecting them. And these are already inside. Okay, so I need a plank. Let's just duplicate these again. So we're changing the texture for that one. We'll speed this up. But I'm taking my time at this early process. So I'm making this one smaller. Like this. So we're now aligning the window. Control A, rotation and scale. It's always important doing that. And be aware of changing the size. So we can now, because we don't have any on the left, we can just drag this over here and making it smaller. Okay. That's okay. Bit smaller. And duplicate, we go up, and yeah, we can just find a different place. And what I'd like to show you is the window part. So I won't do this for every plank, then this tutorial will be so boring and you gotta sleep. I can put some TikTok videos to entertain you, but that's not what I want. Just want to learn you something, but as soon as we reach a point where I think it's good, then I say I'll continue and you can do it yourself. And then I will show you my progression. But the reason, the need for a tutorial is to show you something you've never seen. At that point, it's okay. So this is a nice plank because this has a sort of an intersection. So how are we going to deal with that? Pretty simple. The only thing what we need to do is duplicate this like so. And I'm going to change the texture for, oh, we'll do that later. I'm just putting that one and so. Okay. And selecting all of it and scaling it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. It's a window reference, but I want to have this a bit more square size. So now I'm picking these planks. So like this, and you can do this also for the right side and a little bit to the left. And this way you get a more square sized hole. So it doesn't really matter where you put a hole. You can now align the planks so you can prefer where to put them. So we continue with aligning the planks. So I want to select these and Shift D and move them right there. Keep in mind they're overlapping each other like in real life. And we go to the edit mode and we're moving them down or a total different area, as long you don't have repetition in the planks. That makes really sense. Okay, cool. Okay, where do we, yeah, that's fine. So I'm selecting just one plank, Shift D, and moving them on top. And I'm putting, press G and X and right there. A little bit overlapping in the construction beam. That's what we need. And this way we can just scale the plank a bit more. And finding a different plank. All right, lovely texture. Using it a lot recently. So sometimes I'm not even aware of some beautiful scans we host on Polyhaven. And then I'm working on a different type of structure and I find these beauties. So they're really cool. So this is the front part and look how we're build this up. We're doing well. So I now like to focus on this top part. So how we're dealing with that is we're duplicating this plank. Be aware you're overlapping it. You don't want to have space between. And we're putting an edge line in the middle. We're moving this a little bit more to the left, like this, and just like this. And here we go. We're moving this to the right, and here we go. So now the UVs are broken, so that's stretched, not good. The only thing we need to do, just want to know if we have still the right scaling, that's fine, is pressing U and cube projection, and it's all good. And we're scaling it. Look at that. So I want to duplicate it again, and now we're reaching a new window hole. That's fine. So overlapping it, and we can select the right side, and we select the left side. Okay, we will put like borders on the roof, so will be a nice overlap. So I like to select a new plank because we're reaching this window. Shift D, like so. And I want to have a flat side on the right. And this part will be a bit different. And U, and that's the cube projection, and make it smaller. Okay. I want to do exactly the same on the other side as well. So align it with a plank so they're exactly the same. So something like this. That's cool. And putting it to the left. And U and cube projection. All right. Let's take a look what we have. Okay, so the overlapping can be a little bit better, so moving them downwards. Okay, and from this point you can simply duplicate these, having the overlap, and putting them that position and like this, selecting both and make it a bit smaller, finding a different area so you don't have the repetition in texture. And we continue. Very chilling modeling, nothing fancy. It's pretty easy as long as you know what you're doing. Make it a bit smaller, finding a different area. So this is more reddish than that one, and that's fine. You can see it is a bit different. And now we have a different shape. We can use that one, and we find an overlap. And we won't keep it so straight as it is right now. So 1 second, we do the cube projection to prevent the stretching. So when I finish, we can start like making them like rotating them, making a bit more broken planks. But first I want to finish this part. So you get comfortable with the process. You know what we're doing. Now we can speed it up. And you will see that's going a lot faster. No, just doing it a bit more like this. We have more. We even have more planks. That's quite a lot. Okay, what we can do is just select these and find a different area. And the final plank. Oh, I forgot to shrink it. That's important. Okay, we just do a new projection, cube projection, and we're fine. So the final one on top, we squeeze this just like this, and cube projection. Okay, so let's check it. Wonderful. Look at that. It's just really, really nice. From this point, we can start focusing on the other side. So I will speed this up. So we're picking a random plank, Shift D, holding Control, R, Control, and rotate it with the mouse. Put this origin to geometry. It's now in the middle. This works a bit better. GY, GX, and there it is. I like to start at the bottom. Let's align it with the size of the plank, so it's good. GY, GX, perfect. So blend it inside. And I prefer to have separated planks on the right and the left. It's a bit more work, I agree, but this way we have more freedom in adjusting it. So we're selecting it, and if you want to have a side, press Control 3 on the numpad, and you are in front of it. And let's do a new cube projection so we know we have the right measurement. Good. All right, Shift D, and we continue. So what I want you to do at this point is go all the way up, finding a different texture. Sometimes get a little bit of these seams. So you have these overlap. That's a nice detail to have. Maybe a bit bigger so you can see it. So you work your way to the top, just what we did on the other side, and splitting the planks now. At this point, you need to just duplicate this and GY, just like this. GY, okay, and Control L and SX. You're making it smaller. Well, be aware if you make it smaller, not making this part in the middle smaller. And you can duplicate this, GY. And so, stretching it a little and finding a different location. Wow. Okay, that's awesome. Pretty good. Yeah, so you can continue doing that to the top, and when we're finished, we jump to the other part, and then we slowly speeding this up. So we're adding the planks. So we'll pause the video and continue this work, and then we're going to the left panel. All right, see you in a second. All right, I'm finished with the barn, right side. So what we can do now is simply select everything, not the light. By the way, just delete that light, just like this. And the beam, so we have this part selected. And we Shift D, duplicate this, GY. And the only thing we need to do now is aligning this window. So that's not that hard. What I like to do is select these vertices and drag them to the right. And we're selecting the other ones, GY, to the other side. So, and I think I'm making this window a bit smaller. So, and of course, we're selecting the planks now, and we're finding, let's do this in the material mode, we're dragging them downwards so we have a different texture. For these, you can do this very rapidly. So for this plank method, I tried multiple ways, also with a tile texture without these seams. So you can simply see only wood texture. And this way it's easy to add more detail. But I kind of like these seams because they're very effective in the way I'm using them. So this photo projection mapping is very powerful. This plank needs, in the vertice selection mode, let's just do this manually. But yeah, it's way more work doing it this way. But you add a kind of uniqueness on your model that's so unique and special that it's worth it. You want to make something nice, and it's okay to spend a couple of hours working on it. It's not the worst. Definitely, it's not the worst doing this. So I like to drag this beam a little bit more to the outside. Same for here, because they're overlapping. Okay, fine. And don't forget to save your work. File, save as. I'm already at Bond 02, so save it, and we're good. Nice. I think we're doing very well. You can see this is still the same. So I think we did not use a different texture for the top ones. There we go. I just drag them. Fine. Okay. So I want to work on the other part. So I think it's very simple by simply duplicate this row and Shift D, we rotate it, holding Control so we can snap these planks to the right coordinates and aligning it with the window. And the only thing we need to do now is drag them to the right and to the other side and just make everything a little bit taller. Yeah, just a little bit. And maybe it's very easy to just drag them one area and it looks fine to me. We need to do a little bit of tweaking on these planks, but be aware that we are going to remove the inner base pretty soon, so that will be fine. So that one and GY, GX, G and X. Okay. I'm trying to get this square size window. And it needs to be a little overlap. So just these. Yeah. Otherwise it's a little weird. And that one. Okay, so this is by far the most intense modeling part. But I just want to show you that in a long tutorial. That's fun. So the other part, and you can already, I think, guess how we do that. We simply using these from the other side of the roof. We're duplicating it, we're rotating it, holding Control, and move this to the top. And one thing that's bothering me is we're doing this in UV editing. We should go to the modeling. And here we go. I also changed the size of my window because of some part it was snapped back to the small size. Okay, so let's align this with the window, with the structure, merging just inside, and with the plank underneath. Yeah. Okay. I think a little adjustment is needed. These. Okay, let me check. A little bit to the right. Just a little bit. Okay. So currently, if we change the texture, because it's using the same textures as the other one, and we're moving this, and I can see that it's using quite a lot of the same textures. So if you see here, you can see any duplications. We need to change that. repetitive. That one as well, just a different part. And how's that on the other side? Yeah, that one is not good. But overall, not bad at all. So it's starting to look like a barn, but we're not finished yet. I like to align these beams a bit more with the construction. So GY, let's go back to the modeling. And for all of these beams, and GY, yeah. So before working with Unreal, I didn't really care about the inside. But at this point, it makes a lot of sense, because when you get inside, it all needs to be right and fit. So of course, we need to do the other side of the panel. So we didn't do that. I like to select these planks. Here we go. All right. And we're making this duplication. Yeah. Selecting it, aligning it with the wall. Yes. Okay. And we're selecting these and GY. Okay. So these planks, and I have to select them separated. 1, 2, 3, 4. UV editing. Press point, so we're centering it. So a bit wider. And the other one's a bit smaller because we made them smaller. And that's nice to have them all like as a separated object. We later merge all of these. All right, these are a bit too tall. That means that I made a little mistake, and we are just going to fix that. GY inside. Okay. So I don't bother about this window glitch because in the end it will be gone. So that's fine. So the only part is now the right side. So that's for you. You're duplicating these and you're going all the way up, change the texture. And when you're done, we'll return and we're focusing on the window and the door parts. All right, so good luck. I will pause the video and see you in a second when it's done. All right, the other part of the other side of the barn is finished. I'm moving this beam a bit more outwards, that one as well. So they function as construction beams. Okay, looks all good to me. So I like to do some work now on the window and door design. So before I do that, I want to make some little changes. For example, I want to make this window a bit bigger because if I compare it with the other ones, this is very small. And for the top, it's fine, but I want to make this one a bit bigger. And yeah, I will show you how you do that if you want to make a change during the modeling part. So let's make this plank a bit smaller. Yeah, that's fine. It's totally fine. Same for the one at the bottom. Okay. And these can be a bit stretched to the right. Yeah. Okay. So this plank can be bigger, because you have to fill these holes. Cool. So now we have a slightly bigger. How's that at the bottom? The one at the bottom needs to be aligned as well. So. And that just feels a bit better having these. And you can do this with more planks, making some smaller and bigger. But for this purpose, it works. It's a very small adjustment, and you can try to scale the plank size in texture. It feels stretched. But these are very small adjustments that we get away with it. At this point, we're pretty close to remove the inside of the cabin. So we need to find it. It's like this part. And let's just, for now, let's hide it. Not totally remove this. Press H. So this is the base. And what I want to do now is saving our work. Make the screen a bit smaller. File, save as. Just go for barn 4. So you can easily jump back to your older file if you see something is totally ruined. You have a backup. That's nice. And currently I keep making small changes if I see things are not blending well. So the window and the door part. Let's start with the door. Now I go back to the modeling and we add a cube. Let's name this door frame. We also make a window frame. So make it smaller. Something like this. GUI. Here we go. A bit bigger. Okay. So what I like to do is we're going to the top. Yeah, I'm going to make it a bit smaller. Okay. We're going to the top. At this point, you extrude. And you go to the right. Extrude. Fine. And you go back. So this is like a door frame. And of course, we need to apply a texture on it. But this way, it blends from the inside with the outside. Pretty nice. So I like to use the same texture as before. That's the barn planks. So let's start with cube projection. Let's check if, yeah, the scaling is wrong. So fix that, Control A. You unwrap cube projection. Go to the UV editing and check what we have. I mean, this is perfect. I like to rotate these like so and make it a bit bigger, like so. So this is aligning. And now at this point, you can choose, let's starting with these. Oh, starting with these. And we're aligning them with planks. Same for the other part. And just find the spot you like. I like this. Ooh, smaller. And the top one. And find an area material. So I like to see these transitions. So it looks like there is this top bar of the door. And they're on top of each other. What you can do, it's something what takes a bit more time, is extend this a little bit. I didn't do this in my previous structure, but I mean, we can just do this right now and do the cube projection and find a nice little spot. So now it's really like there is this wooden bar on top of the door frame. We're not modeling the door itself because that's an asset from the course. So as soon as we import this cabin in the scene, we having this door blueprint where it has a trigger. When you walk to it, it's opening automatically. But yeah, we have a door. We will make some changes to make it a bit more curvy, a bit more, but that's for later. For now, it's function as a door. So what's next up? We're working on the door frame. So that's next. But first we save. File, save as F5. And here we go. Okay, so now we're making the window frames with all the details we need. So also the glass and things like that. I'm going to add a new cube, drag this to here, and align this so it's fitting a bit. Don't need to be perfect. Keep in mind, this is medieval modeling. That's so much fun. So I'm dragging this cube right there as Y. So G, S, Y. So what we're going to do is we're adding two. Yeah, this is pretty thick, a bit smaller. Okay, Control A, rotation and scale. We're adding two edge lines. So Control R, scroll your mouse, left click, SX, and holding the Control. So these are pretty small, these are thick, so try to find the thing you want. And as Y, as Z. So cool. What we now have is a window. I like to select this face, delete it, and delete that one as well. And we're going to combine, or we're selecting these faces to close this frame. Oh, Control Z. Oh, wow. That's weird. I was just filling it and automatically it's grabbing the other. How does it work with that? That's brilliant. That's something new, I guess, in Blender. I'm not used to that. So I'm learning during this tutorial. How fun is that? And I can see this plank is not really closing it in. So same for that one. Needs a bit of work. Okay, cool. So very thick window. And we're doing it exactly the same rotation and scale as the window. So we're using the same material, bond planks, and that will be the cube projection, and add edge lines on these points, because now we can simply select them and rotate. So try to align this with all the planks like this and rotate. And the other one, cool. And let's take a look. Okay, so we now need to grab the middle part. So cube projection. It's such a fast way of making your models look like good by doing the cube projection. And it makes your models looks nice, cool, nice and shine material. All right, so this is like the main part of your window. What we need to do now is add a cube, making that one smaller. And this will be the window bordering. And drag this to the window. Yeah. So drag it a little bit more to the left. Same texture, bond planks, Control A, rotation and scale, and we do the same cube projection. Okay, this one is a bit smaller. It's not using this whole area. So let's take a look. I want to see this small transition right there. You can see it right there. So it adds more detail. Very important. Okay. In edit mode, we can just do the duplication, rotating it, and put this to the other side. Okay, and of course we pick a different area, press point, so we center this, and we can see this line. Nice. Maybe you think that's such a small detail, but it really makes sense doing it that way. Okay, so these are now intersecting, so I like to make this a little bit smaller, just a little bit, and finding a different spot. So we find this black bar, this black joint, or whatever you call it, and putting it right there. All right, and the final one, shift D, Okay. And there. So what I could have done was like simply duplicate that one, make it smaller, like so as Y. But then you have like less control, because now I can just have more control in the way I want to change things. Otherwise it was just one piece, and now they're single objects. Okay. Small detail for you maybe, but for me it's like a big one. Because, for example, I now can say I want to select this part and drag this to the middle. And you say, oh, how do we know this is the middle? As a medieval modeling, you don't know exactly. You just look at it, and I can see I'm just dragging it away. I had to duplicate it. And I received like so much feedback on the way I model, but I keep saying you get the best results doing it this for medieval looking structures. So I'm making this one a bit smaller, so it's glitching. Could do this in this way, so a bit more to the left. Yeah, and we find a different texture. So okay, you can now see it's sort of duplicating the texture. So I want to grab a part. Okay. It has 4 parts, so let's say 4 sides. That one goes here. That one goes there. Okay. Okay, cool. And you can already see what I'm trying to do. Shift D and rotate it. Hold Control. And we're making a little bit like smaller. Or wider, whatever you prefer. I prefer a bit smaller. Okay. And it starts to look like a window, right? So let's select both of them and drag them inside. So we now have to add the glass, and I'm fine with how we have it right now. And we're going to add a plane. Drag this over here like this. I want to check the face orientation. That's good. You don't want to see any red. So it's not perfectly squared, but it's getting close. And put this inside. So how it's from the other side. You want to have this in the middle. Just how we do this. Cool. So what about this window glass? We go for new. Call this window glass. Cool. We go to shading. Yeah. Oh. Add texture, image texture, and we open. So I'm looking for the glass window dirt. So I created these manually. Wonderful texture. That's the diffuse. We have this metallic and the roughness, non-color. This is the roughness, right? Yeah. And the metallic. Non-color, and we're dragging this in the metallic. Okay, currently there is no UV coordinate, so we do a U project from view. We go to UV editing, and we're picking the window glass, diffuse. So I'm aligning this somewhere here in the middle. You can see these transitions. You don't want to touch this. So this texture is available on my Patreon. Just click subscribe. There's no payment needed, but I'd like to inform you about the latest details that I'm adding. Oh, okay. So that's one part. So in edit mode, you're duplicating this one. Go to the right and grab another part. Yeah, you can make this a bit bigger. And the other one. bit bigger. Let's grab this. This one is smaller. And there we go. And I'm just trying to focus finding something that works. So that would function as a material. So we're now in the material mode, and yeah, looks like a window, right? Okay. So about the window glass, something I like to do is start tweaking the windows separated, so making it a bit different, because this is not like a modern structure. This is like a barn that's here for years, and it's starting to change over time. And you still want to have these all inside. You don't want to have any holes. And so far, so good. I kind of like it. We're good. So we can now start to merge all the objects into one piece. So like this, Control J. And I want to call this window or barn window. So that's the main one. Pretty cool. And what we do at this point is duplicating them. And we're starting to, we can do this in the solid mode just to see how that works. In fact, I don't want to change the size of this window. So I'm trying to align this with the planks. And we're changing them a bit like this. Also for the other ones, 2, 3. Yeah. And this is how we do it. So duplicating the window, we're rotating it. Let's grab these and put them away. So I'm pressing Control 3. So we are in the other side, making this window a bit bigger. Go to the solid mode, so you know if you're doing this the right way. Pressing point, so you're centering it, and GX and blend this. So you have this window here as well. Okay, so I think this window is a bit thick. So what we can do is just shrink this a little bit. Okay. Control A, rotation and scale. And duplicate it. GY. GX, GY. Yeah. Okay, that one's already at the right position. Let's check the material preview. Going all good. One on the other side. We're rotating it 180 degrees. And there it goes. Okay. Yeah. Merging this a bit more. All right. So there is a need of one more window at the other side, rotating that one and putting it on the other side. And here we have it. Okay, so far for the windows. So we're not done yet. No, there's one more window. How could I miss that one? Shift D and rotating it and aligning it. Okay, I think it's already good. Yeah. All right. So far, so good. Nice. What I'd like to do now is saving our work. File, save as. And let's call this number 6. Save as. That's good. That's nice. So we have the construction beams, we have the window planks, the door frame, the window frame, And at this point, when we can continue working more on the interior and roofing. And so slowly we're building this nice looking barn. So what I'd like to do is press Alt H, and we have this main frame as well. That's it. So it's really hard to find. Let's take a look where it is. Barn base. Oh, it's just there. So we want to get rid of that. So we have two types of roofs, and I want to go a bit deeper on this at this point. We're putting a different texture type on this, and then we merge this with the cabin, and this part will function as roof tiles. And then we're putting planks to cover it so it blends well. So that's the idea. So a different texture type for this one. Let's make this tab a little bit bigger. So remove this one, adding new, and that is roof planks. Yeah, nice. We go to the shading tab, add texture, image texture, and what we will use is a lovely texture. It's a dark wooden planks and diffuse. Can we see a preview? Yeah. I mean, this is like the main wood I use a lot for so many constructions. I'm using this now for the top roof part, but we will also use this texture for some other modeling things. We'll get on that point later. So that's the diffuse. So in the node setup, it's pretty easy. We're just selecting the diffuse, rough, and normal. No blending. It's just what it is. And the normal map. Here we go. In fact, you don't need to do this because we have to align this back in Unreal as well. But it just gives us some good idea of how the look and feel is for the normal map. We're selecting everything and do the I like to go to the side and press U, project from view. Yeah, and this needs to be non-color, UV editing, and dark wooden planks. We're scaling this a bit more. Look from the inside. I think that's a bit too small. Yeah. Okay. That's a nice like wooden roof. Perfect. So at this point, we're fine. It works. The idea behind this as well is when you export this to Unreal, you have like a light source. You don't have this thick wall. You will get light glitches. Everything needs to be thick. You do not get away with just a plane. It will be problematic. So far so good for this part. So let's jump to the top one, remove this, and call this roof tiles. Yeah. Good. Go back to the shading tab. So I already mentioned this is the ceramic roof tiles that you can find on the Polyhaven platform. But last year, I went back to the location and I rescanned it because it was captured some time ago with a different camera, and I now have a way better one. And we have different texture methods or scanning methods, scanning with flash. Long story short, this one is much improved, but it's not on the platform. It will be replaced someday. But we're not really active on replacing textures. So you can find this one on my Patreon or just use the one on the platform, whatever you like. So I'm talking a lot. Just want to inform you on what I'm doing. And for the people who are sharp that, hey, that's a different type. Now you know why. Each texture that I use a lot, I rescan them over time. It's like my color tab. I want to improve the colors if it's possible. That's the non-color. And putting it in the normal. So same for this one. We're just doing yeah, we're going to do project from view, projection, and the ceramic roof tiles. Is it roof tiles or one? Okay. So a bit smaller. Let's add another row. I don't want to have too many roof tiles. Just, that's too much, too many roof tiles. Okay. Something like this will work. Okay, we're aligning this one with the top. And we're lowering this one. So I want to SY, so it's overlapping a little bit for both sides. Control A and rotation and scale. It's very important. And we will add some planks underneath it very soon. So a bit more. So now we're doing some displacement. So subdivision, generate subdivision surface, simple. Object, shade smooth, and deform displace. Click new, open. We're finding the ceramic roof 01. So I don't know why I named it wrong, but you get the point. Right, and we want to check this to UV. So it's using the UV coordinates to align this and backing this 2.3. So at this point, I just want to add some edge lines, not too many. And we want to add squares. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the other side as well. We can just boost these now. I even think that 0.4 will work. Yeah. All right. So we will get around with these roof tiles. I'm just thinking about using an extra row of roof tiles. One thing that went wrong, and I will show you, bringing this back, is I want to make this origin to geometry and scale this just in total. So we also have the overlap at the bottom. So you don't want to blend this. So you want to have a little bit of overlap from these roof tiles. So that was what I was looking at. So yeah, normally I work way longer on it. Like, it's checking your model, observing what you're doing, and making changes. And for tutorial purpose, it's you have to do this way faster. So what I'm doing is just checking if this just feels okay or wrong. But I feel comfortable with how this is going. I'm fine. Just checking the scaling, a little bit changed, maybe 0.35. These are just very small changes, but okay. I'm looking at the bottom, so I think we just move this a little bit upwards. So it looks like this is the final row of roof tiles. That's fine. Okay, so we have the roof, we have the inner roof. So if you now look at the top, you don't see the ceramic roof tiles. So that's one of the functions. So that's nice. We're doing well. Something I like to change as a texture on this wall, and because we now like have this roof, and I want to do more with construction. We're adding some planks on the side. But because we're now working again on planks, I want to make a change on this. So I want to click on this one. Barn planks, blank white. Just like this. We go into shading, and we're replacing it with this white one. Okay, we go back. And as you can see, the bottom one is now white. I'm selecting all these, just two of them, all the way. And the final plank is the white. Shift left click, Control L, link material. And now they're all white. So That's a nice transition. So you have something different at the bottom. Maybe you think, why is there a difference? So it could be that this bond was coated so it won't subtract water from the snow or something. So a protection layer that's a bit different. On the other hand, at style, it looks nice to have something that just breaks the whole mesh. Otherwise, it's that just one color. So it has like double. It's just nice. All right, we continue. Oh, sometimes I can just break myself during a tutorial. I'm selecting a window, and the reason is that I just want to rotate this a little bit. Yeah, and that one as well. There's small rotations. You can do this the other way. That's normal for the window. They never straight. So, okay. And that one as well. So, small change during the, and that one on top, just a bit, or maybe like I want to have this part more inside than the other one, so it's just cracking. It's maybe a bit too much, so I'm bringing this back. So, but we have to do this with more planks. Some planks are smaller, some are bigger. So we're reaching that point. We're doing that right now. But before we get there, save our work, because when we get lost with this, we want to turn back to the previous file. So file, save as, and number 7. Cool. Save as. All right, so we go to the modeling. So we have a larger screen. So we grab these and we start now to just do weird stuff with the planks. And don't go too wild on this. So I'm putting this origin right there. So we have just very small, very gentle. You can see this feels so much more realistic if you're starting to rotate these planks. You want to avoid very big holes, but some holes are like, it's good, no problems with it. So take your time and go through this process. Don't do it like exactly like this, that's weird, but you get a point. They can both look a little bit weird, or just select this one and just let it hang. You can see these are not perfectly aligning. So, and maybe add an edge line and putting it a bit more down. You have to do this for the top one as well. So, and I will see this immediately if you make these small changes. But you can only do this when you're at that point. Oh, there you go. Like, and change that one. Same direction. Maybe that one a bit different. Don't go too crazy on this part because, yeah, that's something you don't want to do. All right, so I will pause the video. You can do this now yourself, and now you can see the importance of having planks on the left and right side. So you can just transform this manually for each individual plank, and later we merge all these planks into one single mesh. So that will be nice. Good. So pausing the video, and good luck with transforming all these planks. So I'm finished with changing the planks. Sometimes I made a plank smaller, sometimes I made it a bit taller, rotating it, and this way you get this really nice looking result that we're aiming for. Pretty nice. We're not done yet because we still have quite a lot of things to do. One of the things is I want to blend this part better with the cabin, because currently we have these roof tiles and they're just hanging in the air. I mean, that's not realistic at all. You won't find this in reality. And because we're making a cabin that's going to work as a structure in Unreal, it needs to work. So what we do is, my recording screen is in front. Cube. we're making it smaller. In fact, it's just a plank, a cabin plank as Y. Putting it right here. So we use the barn planks and scale this a little bit. Yeah. And we're going to project. Let's go to the UV editing tab. Yeah. And the planks, weathered brown planks. And we do the cube projection. So, all right. Nice plank. So the first plank, let's duplicate one. I like to start with aligning these. Go to the modeling tab right here. GY. So maybe a bit wider as SY, GY. Okay, it can be, as long as it just blends with the planks but not with the inside, it's fine. Yeah. Okay, we have a little bit overlapping on this point. Well, we're keeping it like this now. And let's go to material. I just want to make this a bit smaller as Y, just a little bit. Yeah. Duplicating it and putting it right here. Okay, not bad. Just trying to find, yeah, that's good. So we're selecting these, and you can change the texture, otherwise it's like a repetition. You're selecting these, you're duplicating the planks to the other side, because we have the same challenge on both areas. Okay, so another plank. Yeah, let's duplicate this one, and we rotate this 90 degrees. We're putting this plank right here, and smaller. Okay, I want to have a bit more space on my screen because there's a lot of things happening. And just merge this. So because we're rotating some planks, some will blend better than others, but we can start shaping this plank if we want. But so far so good. Just pick a different texture. A different one. It has these stripes. Doesn't look stretched. No, not at all. We're duplicating it. And aligning this like so. You can just merge this with each other, but why should you? Okay, so that one is now overlapping, and we can change these details later. You can see there's now overlapping at this point, so we have to be aware we don't want to see that. Not sure why I didn't see that. Okay. And this one has the same issue. It'll take some more time improving it. Okay. Same for these planks. I want to duplicate it. And we're bringing them right there. Okay. Wow. You can see there's this hole, but it's nice from the inside. Okay. So the inside needs something as well, but for this I want to go back to my construction beams and using that one with the holes. That one is lovely for constructing. So we're going to align this. Let's just put this straight up, and before we start I like to save. So file, save as, number 8, and we continue. So we have construction beams on the outside, and I want to have these inside as well. So we're making them smaller. We're rotating it. We take a look inside. So let's say we are aligning this with the roofing. Okay. How does this blend? Blend well. It's nice. The only thing, it needs to be a bit bigger. Yeah. Cool. And GY to the rear. So. Yeah. I'm just rotating it a bit more. So it looks like this. Okay, it's blending currently pretty much. Okay. And I'm doing a duplication, rotating this to the other side. So how does this goes? Press R and Y. Okay. GX. R, Y. All right. I want to have a beam horizontal. Yeah. Like this. Let's do this manually. And SX, stretch it a little. Like so. Lower it. You don't want to see them from the outside. Or in my other model, you could see it. So it depends a bit what you prefer. So let's rotate these holes. Control A, rotation scale. Let's make it a bit wider. Let's say we do merge this a little bit. Yeah, so there's this transition. That's fine. So we want to have a duplication. And what I would like to do is not using this beam, but another one like that. And that's be a very small beam on top. It can be wider, but small. On top of the window, like here. Okay. All right, how we're dealing with it. You can now easily select all of these constructions, Shift D, and put them right here. So they are matching the construction. So, and we need to have one on the other side, Shift D, some rotating. And it maybe looks a little bit weird that you have to do this, but yeah, it looks kind of weird. I'll have to say that I don't like to see these beams. So it's a little improvement. Ctrl Z, so let's select everything. Okay. GY. Don't want to see it. Okay, fine. Construction. These are blending pretty well. You don't want to see them in the roof. So we have these now. And I want to have construction beams on the sides. Shift D. Like over here as Y. And side view, you're duplicating it and rotate it like this, and you're moving it to the right. Okay, duplicating. Fine, here we go. Not bad. So how does it look? We don't have any intersection. All fine. So we have the fix for the roof. Let's make it a bit more smaller. Just a little bit. And on the other side looks good as well. We have the constructions for the inside. So what I like to do is adding a floor and a top floor, so we can store some hay bales later. That's a funny detail. And I like to do the top floor with planks, the bottom floor with just a plane. So let's start adding a floor. And just like this, we're aligning this as Y. Okay. Okay. So it's a bit too Control A rotation scale. Yeah. Let me check. I don't want to pick the bottom because we want to, as soon as we put this cabin in the snow, the snow can go through the floor. So if we put it right there, we don't have any spacing. So something like this, we let it float a little bit. The only thing is that the floor is now inside of these beams, so I don't want that. Something like this is much better. Let's grab the other side and just do this manually. GY, there we go. Okay. So for this floor, I want to use the old planks. Go to shading, add texture, image texture, and it's the old wood floor. Another amazing texture we host on Polyhaven. Yeah, roughness and normal. You get the workflow now. And add vector normal map. You're putting it right there. Cool. That's still the roughness, so replace that with normal. And you can see we have a texture, but just do a project. Oh, let's do a cube projection. Cube project. No, there's no need because yeah, there is a need. Cube projection because you can see the front size. And let's take a look. We don't want to, yeah, it's too small. I hope they fix that blinking. It's really a pain. All right. So one detail I like to add are borders in this because there's like, it's a hard transition. I like to create another cube. I do this with like almost all the structures I built. These transitions, they feel so good to have in your building. GY. Okay, we'll check it out inside if they're aligned with the walls. Yeah, and the other one almost. GY. Okay, Control L. We're using the same material as the floor, old planks. And in edit mode, we do the cube projection. I think you're now really familiar with cube projection. If you never used it, is old planks. That's it, or flooring. Let's scale this a bit. How does it look? I'm centering it so it's easy to get inside. Okay. So at this point, I simply make a duplication to the other side and merge this. Yeah. Using a different texture. Or not a texture, just a different space. And rotating it, aligning this to the other side. Something like this. We'll do GY. And there we go. Make it smaller, of course. And we need one. Oh, Control Z. I just hide it over here. Okay, so this one needs to be split in 2 parts because you get inside. You don't want to have this overlap. So Control L. The only thing we need to do is make that smaller, like this, and Shift D. Origin to geometry. Let's just merge it. Yes, and the other one. Small detail, but it makes sense. OSX and different space. So we now have a nice flooring, but we've got nothing on top. So I like to work on this now. So I want to have one more beam over here. Let's just rotate that one. And we're making planks. Another plank. But this time we're using the dark, and that one's not really in the middle. I always hate it when I just make another object that I switch my work. And the reason that I make separated planks is that when you look at the top roof, you can see these are separated. And then add some more realism inside. All right, Control A rotation. That's the roof planks. I'm sharing all the same materials if it's possible. So no separated materials for the same material. That's kind of weird. So we do the cube projection, dark wooden planks. So it's the same material I use for the door that we will use. Okay, but only the side has this. Oh, only the side. Okay. Yes, I like this line. So we're putting this right here. And we start duplicating it. Yeah. Very simple, different area. Bit bigger. Like so. And some are a bit taller than others and smaller. I mean, it's all about these small details that makes your structure look so awesome. And we go all the way. We're selecting them. And there we go. This one is wider. Yeah. Okay. And now I can be a little bit more lazy in selecting the planks. Okay, this is challenging because we now have to do this all in one. Control L. Yeah, you should select it. Okay. How does it look? Yeah, it's not perfect, so let's just take a look at the planks. And now it's better. So this one is repetitive. It's not really chain. This one is not good as well. So we just take this texture and some more planks, and then I think we're done. No, not really. We need one extra. Okay, just move them to the other side. Okay. It still takes quite some time to align everything so it looks good. Okay. I'm not selecting it in the window. Okay. Let's do one more. Shift D, and here you have it. Maybe a bit wider. That will fix. And just grab another plank. All right, so the fun part of this is that you can, let's select this one, add some edge lines. And in proportional editing, when you press O, You just move it a little bit down. And that one a bit more or up. So you can add some variation. Doesn't really matter how many you do. Maybe one over here. That breaks sort of the look. So, not that bad. So what we have now is construction beams, a top floor, a bottom floor. I mean, almost done. But there are still some things I like to add before I call it a day. That's like a working table, a small one on the side. And I like to add some side roofs. So you can add some wood logs behind on the bottom. So it's protected from the rain and snow. And that's pretty much it. So we continue. We're not done. We continue. You can take a break if you want. It's a long ride. But yeah, we get that. I want to prevent these from spawning in. Originally, I thought it was a good idea to just add them. But, I mean, I thought, no, it's not really what I want. So, we save our work. File, save as, and... Cool. We can continue. All right, so we continue with the barn. I like to make a working table because this is an old barn. Maybe someone is working way here on the table. I kind of like it. And you can fill it with props from Polyhaven. We got some really cool assets to put on, making it even better. So let's make it ourselves not that hard and grab some planks from the top. Maybe a wider one and a smaller one. I duplicate them and drag them to this part. So it's just this part. So there's no window. That was on purpose. And I just want to make this a little... Oh, G, X, G, Y. Always fighting with the numbers. And at this point, not really... I don't know if it's a good idea to have these screencast reflections. So we have this table, but it's now sort of floating in the air. So we're going to make this look a little bit better. I like to, let's hide the roof so we can look more inside. I mean, with one click it's back, but for now it's a bit better. So everything needs a solid construction, and that's the same for the working table. We want to put some extra planks, so underneath it, and like this, it's smaller and wider, and putting this GY. Okay. And maybe I do want to stretch them a bit like this. So, okay. I want to have them right there. A bit smaller. So this plank is keeping the table together. And I'm really struggling with just finding the right size. Okay, it's a really simple object and still have dark planks. Or it's the roof. It's the roof planks. So I should roof planks, maybe pick a better name next time to make it better. Cube projection. I mean, it's a small plank, so I just want to have something like this. Maybe that one. That looks cool. Okay. And I want one on the other side. Here we go. And it's sort of a little glitchy because yeah, it's now getting inside. Let's select these two planks. And these has edge lines and the other one does not have it. Let's put some over here so it's easy for me to just blend them inside. Okay, so far so good. We're doing well. Different texture. I kind of like this transition. So putting it, rotating it. It's the end of a plank. Okay, so and now it needs to be put on another plank or a sort of a beam. Make this one smaller. And where's my beam? It's right there. Okay, cool. That looks good. So we will use this beam a couple of times. So putting it right there. So in this construction beam. Okay. Putting it right there. We're not doing it right there. Control Z. Oh. And what I like to do is just grab this point. Press GG. G. Just good as well. Like this. And we're going to make it smaller. Rotation and scale. Maybe a bit smaller. My mistake for this construction. I'm sorry. So same as the roof planks. Cube projection. Because it's now rotate a little bit, we have to do some magic with the with UVs. Okay. I mean, it's a small part and still takes some time to make it look right. Okay. And duplicating it for the other side. Okay. So that's the working table. Yeah, I like it. It looks nice. So the next part is putting a side roof on the left. So I'm pressing Alt H and let's just bar and base, just hide it. I like to add a new plane and we're dragging this to the left, pressing Ctrl 3. So as Y and rotating it. So we're grabbing this point. Something like this looks good. All right. And again, we're using these construction beams because yeah, these are the ones that holds everything together. And there will be the ceramic roof tiles as well. So it will be roof tiles. And there is a modifier applied. So what we can do, first we put the texture on top of it. I mean, that's always you start with that. So like this, you project from view. We go to the ceramic roof. Let's take a look, roof tiles, and scale it. Not that big as the top one, but something like this will work. It's still very tall. And yeah, this will almost work. No half tiles. All right, so shift left click on the first some lines, squares, Ctrl A rotation and scale, and shift left click, Ctrl L, and copy modifiers. So now you have the roof tiles, but it's floating in the air, not realistic at all. So what I like to do is make some changes. First, I'm going to rotate this a bit. Yeah, and now I can make a construction on the roof. Yeah, a bit lower, something like this. Let's take a look what we have. I like to use this bar. We're duplicating it. And maybe making it a bit bigger. So, like this. Inside. And this part needs to be something like so. Yeah. Okay, it needs to be like larger. So, and maybe it sticks out a little bit. Let's smooth these roof tiles, shade smooth. Okay. And GY. All right, Control A, rotation and scale. I like to do a new projection mapping. Control L, U, and the cube projection. We go to the dark wooden planks, and we need to align that one. Okay. Right, and we need to have one on the other side as well. I want to make this a bit larger. Yes, nice, nice to have. And we're duplicating it, GY. So here we go, SY, a bit thicker. And this one can be a bit thicker as well. And yeah, simply duplicate it again. Okay, and we're moving it right here. Oops. There we go. Making it a bit smaller, SY. Control A, rotation, and now we can make this smaller. Okay. Of course, we need to change the texture. It's all looking a little bit more dirty in the UV maps. It was also clean, but yeah, we have to deal with it. A little small side roof looks so nice. Okay, well, look at that. Okay, so I want to start applying the modifier. Well, first we can duplicate this. I'm looking at the top, and that one is not really nice aligned. Same for that one. Okay, so I like to select these parts, and we're duplicating it, and one on the other side, and merge this. Okay. So far so good. Looks good. No weird things visible. I keep checking my work. Nice. So I was talking about start applying the subdivision and the displacement. So if you're happy with the result, you can do that. Maybe you want to have larger roof tiles or smaller ones. I'm pretty fine with what we have at this point. So it depends a bit how heavy you want to have your geometry. In fact, I prefer 4, but 3 is better. And the strength is the intensity. Maybe you want to use 0.4 or even 0.5. You've got a lot of displacement on the roof tiles. I'll go for 0.4, something in the middle. That's safe. So as soon as we apply this, we're done. So at this point, I always like to save file, save as, and I made it another one, save as. It's number 10. Didn't do anything. It was just a cleanup. And we can now just do the apply. Apply. Oh, and apply the displace. Don't do the display. Don't displace first. First the subdivision, and then apply the displacement. All right. So I want to do 2 small things. That's adding these planks underneath these roof tiles, and then doing a little bit of rotating on the windows a bit more, checking it, and then we're finished and we can jump to the Unreal Engine. So about these planks, I like to make a duplication, or we have 1 plank. That's perfect. That's why it's so nice to have something extra, so you don't have to do wicked rotations. So I kind of like to have a plank underneath these roof tiles. And putting the origin right there. And SY, scale it. Okay, merging this. Yeah, can make this taller. We have to select the weathered, of course. The weathered. Okay, so it's taller. Okay, cool. And another one on the other side. Here we go. Okay, maybe a little bit lower. Okay, I think it's now merging, so a bit more. It was good. Right, so these tiles are just hanging on a plank. This is how it should be. This looks a little bit too straight to me, so I'd like to add some edge lines and well, maybe in the vertice selection mode, just change this a little bit. The same for these. I mean, this medieval modeling, you always get away with it. Old wood. So, and you can see there's no transition in these. I'm just giving you some extra tips. So what you can do is just select this line. So Control, left click, and these are the dark, yeah, and we're putting these lines. You can do this on the other side as well. Shift left click, and you can see it. At this point is mostly like the fine tuning. I kind of like it. Nice side roof. Is everything aligned well? Well, looks good to me. This one is integrating or merging. So I'm just moving this a little bit so we avoid this problem. Okay. Don't want to spend too much time on it. We just want to go to the next part, and that's Unreal. Just preparing this model so we can continue. And that one. But if you don't fix this, it's kind of weird. You're walking, you think, hey, why is it like this? So I was talking about the windows. So a small detail I really like is something I already did before. It's just rotating this. So, and the other one, maybe the other side. And yes, it makes sense if you do this. So, and from the inside, it looks just fine. That's just a nice window border. Okay. All right, so save the work, files save, and we can prepare this cabin to export to the Unreal game engine. All right.